So tell us about Bell's virtualization journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, Bell started in 2006. At the time, we had some decisions to make about our NT platform, which was approaching end of life. So we took advantage of the opportunity in consolidating about 400 servers down to a very small subset of physical servers. VMware allowed us to do that. So that was a big factor at the time in getting us started. The other big factor is we had call centers around the world that had a need for some kind of virtualized desktop infrastructure. So we decided to go down the path of doing that, mainly to allow us to better control desktop images so that we could run a central desktop image and not have to worry about distributed patching and security updates. It just allowed us to more effectively control this image. So we started off with that. Then we started to hit some data center capacity issues, and it was logical that by virtualizing we could free up some space, power, and cooling costs by consolidating our infrastructure through virtualizing. So that's kind of where we got to today, and the next milestones virtualization wise will be all around continuing to free up space, lowering costs, and improving availability by having this better resiliency model that virtualization gives us.
Why did you want to share your virtualization story today at VMware Forum Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a couple of different reasons. I think that there's a lot of perceptions in the industry that unless you're 75% plus virtualized, then you're behind and you're doing something wrong. Well, the reality is, particularly with enterprises, particularly with carriers like Bell Canada, they're complex environments. They're national in scope. Some of them may be older. And there's real-world challenges around virtualization, and we've seen some of those. We get them. We understand them. We don't say that we have all the answers to fixing them, but we're down the journey of driving up that virtualization rate. And I think a lot of enterprises and even medium businesses and small businesses can relate to it. So I think it was important to talk about that message and the results that we've had and the challenges that we have in getting to our eventual objectives. I think it also demonstrates our capability from a customer-facing side. We've seen the tough issues. We've seen the tough security issues. We've seen the tough networking issues. We've seen the capacity management issues from the experiences that we've had internally, and we're parlaying those into solutions that we can provide to our customers.
Now, how important is virtualization to the infrastructure of an enterprise class company such as Bell Canada or some of your customers?
Yeah, it's very important and increasingly more important as we drive up that virtualization rate. And I think the key thing to remember is virtualization typically starts with your servers and your compute, but there's also a lot of other virtualization that you have to do in tandem. You need to virtualize your storage, your SANs. You need to even begin to virtualize your networks. So all those play a critical role in serving our internal users and our customers. And talking about disaster recovery capabilities that it gives you, lower management costs. Increased agility by being able to spin up new instances very rapidly. It's definitely very, very important for enterprises.
So if you can just share some of the lessons learned through your experiences at Bell and what maybe some of your customers or other corporations can learn from when they're starting to deploy virtualization.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's about educating our user community, educating people right across our organization around the benefits of virtualization. Everything from the real world power and cooling cost savings, the savings of not having to expand our data centers prematurely, and what that means for our business from a cost perspective. Also educating people on the reliability and availability of virtual solutions. There's a lot of people who still think dedicated solutions are the way to go for mission critical environments. So there's a big education factor to make sure that you can get people's comfort. And clearly you need to start off with a less mission critical application that you virtualize. You get their comfort, you demonstrate, you benchmark, and you show them through some kind of scorecard from an availability perspective, cost, disaster recovery, overall availability. Like you need to prove and educate to them on why a virtual solution is better than a physical one. So I mean that's number one. I talked before earlier today about having some capacity available. It's key to have some virtualized capacity available that you can spin up quickly. The last thing you want to do is extol the virtues of virtualization and the rapid times to spin up, only to have to come back to your customer and say, well, I've got to order a couple more servers or a couple more switches or a couple more blades or licenses. You got to have some capacity to make it very, very easy for them. The last thing is around making sure you benchmark your applications in terms of which ones are suitable for virtualization and which ones aren't, because there's going to be some that aren't. And I wouldn't waste a whole lot of time if you're just getting started on the big, meaty, difficult ones. Spend your time on the low-hanging fruit, on the easy ones, on your file and print stuff, on the stuff that has very low utilization rates. Leave the ones that are busy for later, and the industry will catch up. More ISVs will support virtualization over time, but the important thing is they're starting off with the low-hanging fruit.